Experts are live and free. My guest today is Lloyd Punk. We'll be joining him reasonably soon. One of the real focuses on the interviews moving forward is more about trading and what these guys are actually doing, how they're doing it, what they look for, the kind of things that we can practically use to become better traders. But I wanted to start off with a couple of other things before we got too heavily into that. I want to remind you guys, first of all, of the Pick the Euro competition. Go to the Actions 12th Facebook page, pick the Euro, and if you're still a voucher this week, if you are the one that gets it closer, just go to the Actions 12th Facebook page. It's pinned at the top as the competition. You can have a guess still on the Euro price, and if you win, you will get that. I also, it's been a good day, Lloyd. When I got back about half an hour ago, I got a message. One of the professional traders who we were working with told me the other day he's looking for a new role, and I mentioned it in passing to one of the really senior guys we work with, and he's sent him through a link to apply for a job, which would be his perfect job. Remote, brilliant, great money, awesome. And I love the fact that our teams still do that for each other. That, someone who's in a, literally, managing billions of dollars every day, took a moment out to send a link through to help someone else in the team. I think that's really cool. And while I was looking at it, I saw on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn profile for one of my first ever clients, one of the first guys I ever taught to trade, who is now a full-time power trader in Denmark. Awesome, eh? Quite cool. I really love this stuff. I love seeing these guys.
One of your earlier batch of students now is a full-time trader working with a prop firm?
Yeah, look, he's working for an energy trading company in Denmark. So not a prop firm, a full fund, and he would have been in the first 20 clients I ever coached. And look, we were in the UK at the time, and he was in. We were in the UK, and he was in another place in Europe, and I'm my brain's just not what it used to be. Anyway, it sounds like Denmark too. Down on the coast, known for illegal drugs, known for legal. He was down there. What's that country called? This is
I'm not familiar with Europe, but they just leave it as
Holland. He's in Holland. He's in Holland. That's where he was. Not too far from Amsterdam and Netherlands. Netherlands, what I was thinking of. And so, hard to stay in touch, but the boy was pretty sharp when I met him. And I don't think anyone particularly makes it for one coach or anything, but. Really nice to see him. He looks really happy in the picture and certainly living his dream. That's what it is all about. So I'm feeling good right now, mate. Seeing the team help each other out always makes me happy. Seeing guys who we've trained making a lot of money. That is a big role by the look of that he's got. Makes me happy as well, mate. So it's a good day. Now, let's talk a little bit more about yourself. The aim for today is to get a bit more. We've spoken before. I like bringing guys like yourself back on, Lloyd. I want to do a little bit of a history. We met each other about how long ago?
4 years? I believe it was 4 years.
About 4 years ago. And what were you doing at the time?
The time was full-time videographer. Yeah, still freelancing. I've been doing freelance job as a videographer. Actually that's about it.
That's about it. And on that program, you ran into a couple of new friends who you met in the program and started trading with?
Yeah. So at the time, I was looking to expand my repertoire of trades, the market that I'm exposed to. So I was active in stocks. Then I said that why not just expose myself to more? Again, the underlying driver was my father at then, because I see him wasn't getting that good at advice from his bankers. So I was like, why not get myself involved and see whether I can pick it up a thing or two. Then search around, Actions to Wealth. I think yours was one of the few companies that I chanced upon. Then I was attracted by the USP, which was the amount that I paid. Then you go and offer me the same equivalent account, which was, why not? Yeah. So using money to accelerate my learning, sort of sponsored learning if you want. Then of course, during the course, I think Saha was sitting in front of me. Shalin happens to be sitting at my side. And the three of us just happened to click together. And so they're my friends now.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I think it's amazing when people get together and and become friends and close friends over a period of time from our program. But not only friends, right, Lloyd? You guys traded together for a decent period of time.
Yeah, I think straight after the course, should be 1 week after that, which was also the time that I recently got my new place. So they hopped over and then we chatted and was like, yeah, what? Saha was also doing freelance. I think he was doing training, gym, bodybuilding.
Gym training.
Charlene was doing charity work at then. So we are all basically freelancers and we had time together. So why not just trade together and see if we can bounce off, learn faster. Three person trading together is better than one. I mean, trading is after all a lonely game. So yeah, that's how we got started. Basically they came over almost every single day for the first 3 months or 6 months thereabouts.
And it took you guys a while to different personalities, different approaches to trading. And it took you guys a while, really, the first 6 months, a bit of a battle, weren't they?
Yeah, we are vastly different. So at sense, when it comes to Forex, I still don't really understand what is it. Then Saha already had a bit of exposure with Forex. I mean, he was stopping at that time. Charlene, like me, also didn't really have any experience. But in terms of trading personality-wise, Charlene was the most conservative. Since she only deals with Singapore stocks, I was slightly more aggressive and reckless. Yeah. So then Saha was the one, he's also equally reckless, but the difference between my reckless is I sort of know what I am doing, but he's like, just whack it. Yeah, and Charlene was almost half the time she's trying to pull us back and say, what are you guys doing? I mean, this is the rules, these are not the rules. Are you sure this is the rule? Because half the time I will make up, because we are all equally blurred, so I will say that, this is the rule. And then she will like double confirm, triple confirm.
So, mate, before we get on to too much more, right? We met about 4 years ago. You were a contract videographer. You started trading with Charlene and Saha. Charlene now gives a lot to charity, as she did then all the way through. Charlene's worked with a number of different charities in time we've known her. But I know I didn't mention to this earlier, Lloyd, but you're also about to do something for charity, aren't you?
I'm always volunteering when I have time. So I think my recent and past two endeavor is I just deliver food to the needy family, together with my friends. Then right now, I think it's just tomorrow. So today you'll see me with hair. Tomorrow I'll be without hair because I'll be joining Hair for Hope, which is a charity cause for cancer patients. So raising money for them, raising awareness. And one of the ways to raise awareness is by shaving our head. Basically, that's what they have to go through. Yeah.
Do we only have till tomorrow to sponsor you, or can we sponsor you after you've done the haircut?
Oh, you can sponsor anytime. I think the cutoff time should be early July, if I'm not wrong.
Nice. But I'm going to ask you when you get a chance in between the middle of all of this. I know we're unprepared for it, but if you could post the link to that into the chat at some point, so anybody that wants to sponsor you to have your hair cut for cancer can do that. I'm really disappointed that I'm not in Singapore because I would have paid a bit extra to actually shave your head. That would have been great fun.
Next time you can. Next year, there's always the next year.
If there's a next time. Mate, look, let's get back onto the trading stuff, right? So it's 4 years ahead. You're a full-time trader investor. This is how you make your living these days. You work with us. You do a bit of education for us. You're involved with the back testing at the moment, the testing optimization that we're doing. And I think really inside the organization, you've sort of picked up a role as a bit of a concept guy. That if someone wants to have a chat about something to do with trading and get some ideas, you're one of the people that the team come to get some inspiration, some creative ideas, right?
I would humbly say yes at the moment. The thing is that being involved with trading, investing, or new ideas, basically that's your fault or your merit because you bring a lot of new guys to the team, is that there's no one best method. Every method, every idea is worth exploring. It's just that at the end of the day, does that method suits that particular at that point of time? That's about it. So, and on top of that, I'm really interested in playing around with indicators. So the same chart with different indicators showed a different story. Then it's up to the traders how we want to interpret that information. We can always toss it aside and say that, nah, this is just not meaningful to me. or we can try to open up the box in our brain and say that there must be a meaningful information. It's just that why did I constrain myself to see it in that manner?
Yeah, I find it really interesting, Lloyd, and I don't think people really understand this, but there's a number of indicators in the world that I can say to you, I believe are a complete waste of time and crap. But there'll be one guy in the world making a fortune from trading them. You'll meet a guy and he'll say, no, I do this, and it's you can do that. And I'll be looking at him going, really? You can make that thing make money? But the right person with the right tool can make it work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you deal with price action, so price action works for you. Somebody may deal with other kinds of things, price movement that deals with momentum. They don't really look at price action. That works for them. So to me, I think one of my faults or merit is that because I tend to get things cluttered in my brain, see too much things, then indicators actually form a construct, a bind for me to work with so that I don't really let my ideas run wild. But at the same time, the different combination does bring enough trading frequency and profits into my pocket.
Let me ask you this. So you're quite into indicators, you test them, you optimize them, you do a bit of work with them. How many different indicators have you tested? 30, 40?
Nah, if I show you my library right now, I mean, you'll easily cross the 1,000 mark.
More than 1,000 indicators. Wow. And look, let me ask you, right? So this interests you, but is this just part of the job of a professional trader? Part of what professional traders do is look at ways to find ways to make money. That's what we do for a living, right?
No, I mean, you don't really have to play with indicators to make money. I would say it's part of my interest.
Yeah. When you say that, Lord, I don't mean that every professional trader has to investigate indicators. But part of being a professional trader is looking and playing with ideas and how to make some money.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree to that, because who's to say that the particular strategy that you and I are trading now will work 10 years down the road?
Oh,
I don't think so. I mean, at one time, there will be an alpha strategy traded by a particular hedge fund. That's the alpha at then. 10 years later, that alpha strategy becomes a common market strategy. I think same with what we are doing. The strategy that we are trading now works in this particular market. 10 years down the road, who knows how the market will change? So we need to keep ourselves open. Just keep on exploring. We might not use that idea, but it's good to actually know this idea existed and bank it at the back of our head or keep a notebook, so that at some point down the road, maybe some spark click and I can say, hey, I actually sort of tested this idea in the past. Let me revisit it. Yeah.
Mate, with 1,000 indicators, must have one hell of a filing system.
Sorry again, huh?
With 1,000 indicators, you must have one hell of a filing system for keeping the records of what you've done.
Indicators are easy to keep. It's just that the ideas on how to use them, I actually have a little black book, sort of scribble around and tells me this indicator can be used in that particular manner. Yeah, so I ought to keep that book in a vault, right?
Yeah, I think you probably should. Mate, so it's 4 years later, you're a professional trader, you've done a lot of work on indicators. When we say you're a professional trader, what products as a professional trader, what products are you trading?
I'm trading stocks. I mean, that's one of my mainstays. Trading stocks, investing in bonds. Yeah, quite like bonds, although I don't know why a lot of people seem to hate them. Forex, definitely. At a period of time, I wanted to explore options, but I didn't really get around to that. But I think the fourth one that I'll add to my arsenal nowadays will be crypto.
Yeah. You're getting into crypto?
Yeah, exploring. I'm day in and out. Okay, weeks in and out. Keep hearing about the optimism from Shukri. Sooner or later, it will spike my interest in crypto. It's just that how I digest that idea, that takes time. Yeah. So I'll be sharing how I intend to go into the crypto world. I think it's quite a conservative method, but I think that's how I'll get started.
Fantastic. I see Bitcoin touch 45K this morning. It's rocking back down as we speak. It's down to 48.8 again. I'm interested to see how it goes. I mean, I know that we're really lucky in our organisation that Gordon has picked this week as a week for care. And, certainly it's helped me to get out of a couple of positions. But, I find the crypto stuff fascinating, and how people approach it really fascinating. And we are lucky, aren't we? I mean, we've got Shukri around, we've got Simon around, we've got Mikey working nearly full time on crypto these days as well. There's some there's some guys in our organization. We've got the crypto SAM group of about, I think it's 14 in there now that we're full time on it. Amazing, you know, and you need it. I think one of the things that's changed in crypto like that, I think 6 months ago, you could be a random lucky dude who took a few guesses at crypto, made quite a lot of money. I think by now you've actually got to have a really proper approach and a proper system and some time. And I don't think it's a lucky amateur's game anymore. I think it really is a game where you've got to really up your game, I think, to succeed in it. So you trade some stocks, which is a long-term thing for you, right? You trade some Forex, you trade some bonds, and you trade some crypto. And in addition to that, you invest here and there as well. You and I have got a small investment in some Australian property. We've got a small investment in the Brazilian sand mine, and that's supposed to give us some money back soon as well. So you do a little bit of that kind of stuff as well. Pretty controlled investing in a few different areas. You know.
Yeah, those were opportunities that you brought forth to the group. So I also property semi-exploring all this. Yeah, I mean a bit here and there, just to see what turns out of it. I mean that won't consist a huge part of my portfolio, but I mean to be true is that when you bring forth opportunity that I'm not aware of, then I'll be like, okay, I'm open to it.
Yep,
but that open to it is more like a gambling on my part. But on the secondary idea is that, okay, I would say high risk, not gambling, a high risk on my part. I am aware of that. But the secondary idea is, since I'm involved in such investing opportunity, that it is my job to also be open and find out more. That's also how I, expand my knowledge.
Yeah, it's funny, when I think about the organization, if I was looking for 3 people to invest in a new project tomorrow, the 3 people I think I would speak to would be yourself, Mikey, and Simon, because you've all got that kind of attitude where it's like, well, I mean, and again, and the means, none of the 3 of you are going to recklessly throw your life savings at something, but all of you have an attitude of, well, let's do this and see what we learn from it. Let's do this and see if it succeeds. You tend more to be interested in trying things and not trying things, and that's something that I think is. It's hard to imagine how people become truly successful at trading without that kind of attitude, with about a bit of an attitude that I'm prepared to try some stuff and see if I can, at controlled risk, try some stuff and see what I can learn from it, how it works out. Look, so in a week, you've got a lot going on, right? You're looking at different markets. So I want to ask you a bit more about bonds a bit later on. Bonds are one of the things I haven't done a lot on, but I used to do a program for us on bonds. How do you move between them, and how do you allocate the time to the different things that you invest in?
So let's start with Forex, the things that you and I are most familiar with. So Forex, the primary reason why I deal with indicators is because, again, like I mentioned just now, it gives me a set way to look at the markets. So that's how I deal with Forex. Sunday, I look at the markets, I mark out what I'm going to trade, where I need to trade. That's all. It remains that way throughout the week.
Yep.
So the moment I open my MT4, I'll be like, should I trade? Should I not trade? Should I trade? Should I not trade? That's all that's going through my mind. I don't think whether is there a trade.
So if it's there, you trade. If it's not there, you don't trade.
Yeah.
So you set up, right?
Yeah. So Forex, weekend, deal done. Then when it comes to stocks, now stocks is a bit troublesome because throughout the week, not that I need to micromanage it, but I just need to be, it's because the way I trade, I think they call it thematic investing. I need to be very aware of what's the headline news, because I need to know what is going to move the market next. So I need to keep myself constantly abreast of news, the headline news that comes out. Okay, once I know the news, then for stocks in particular, I will dive down. So this is a primary mover. My way is going into the secondary mover. Those that will follow.
Yeah. So we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail later on, aren't we? About the primary mover, the secondary mover, your thought process around stocks and how that works. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, again, you're one of those guys where you're in 2 or 3 little chat groups around stocks as well, where different people can bring some ideas and you guys can have a chat about them. I mean, invest or not invest, right? But it's about having a conversation and some information and making some decisions for yourself, right?
Yeah, the chat group I had with Charlene, I think you're in one of them, Ash, and a couple of others, is nobody had a right idea, but somebody have an idea. So just pop it up and see what's sounding. Each of us is just a sounding board, each other. Yeah. So we got to.
I really like that, Lloyd. I laugh because earlier this week, one of my old business colleagues and friends sent me a note about privacy swap. It's a crypto product, and launched at about 7 cents. And he just sent me a note saying, I was really busy, and he messaged me again and said, "Oh, look, it's $14 now," and yeah, it's now at $70. And if I bought it at 7 cents, that would be a pretty good week. And it's one of those things where, for me to get into that, I had to go to Binance and get a MetaMask and do this and transfer that and put it. I don't have to do any of that stuff, but it would have been worth $300,000 to do that. And I think pretty quickly I need to learn how to do more than just trade. To have it. It's great to have a can-do attitude, but you've also got to have the knowledge to actually to put the stuff into practice and do it. Look, guys, our guest today is Lloyd Punk. He's a full-time trader investor, works with us at Actions to Wealth as a teacher. And if you have any questions for Lloyd, put them in the questions box. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, or if you're in the webinar with us on Zoom, you can put your questions into the questions box, and we'll try and get them to Lloyd today. It's not every day you get full-time investors come along and talk to your traders, investors, and talk to you about literally what they do and how they do it. So if you have any questions, put them in the questions box, and we will get them to Lloyd as soon as we possibly can. So you've started to talk about this a little bit. Actually, I just want to go a little back on this. So if there's a person in the room right now and they want to trade a bond, how do they find it? How do they pick a good one? What's involved with and bonds are more of a long-term investment than a trade, or do you're buying the bond as opposed to trading the bond? Is that right?
Yeah. So it's an investment, not a trade. I mean, you can trade bond if you have a couple of millions lying around, since each bond is about 200,000. But I don't have that much, so I invest. So it's more of a holding period between 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. It'll be along that line. Yeah. So if anybody is interested in bonds, then my number one question to them is, why bonds at this period? Yeah, because most of the time people see bonds as a hedge. Yeah. So
yes. See, it's interesting when you said you trade bonds. The first thing that occurred to me is that's the part that balances up the aggressive part. You're quite aggressive by nature, but having some money in bonds offsets that, right? It gives you a solid, safe base. So part of your portfolio over here is safe, and part of your portfolio over here you can be a little more aggressive with.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. That balances me, because at the end of the day, at the back of my head, I know that if I mess up something, then I don't completely lose everything. I still got something to fall back on. Yeah, I mean that's probably come out from my playful nature. Yeah. So that back to bonds is that they don't have to know the company absolutely that well, but they have to understand the industry that's involved in that. So if somebody comes to me and say that I'm going to buy a bond of this company and they are raising funds because they want to build a data center, then I'll say, well, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Generally, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, the world needs more data center. But if somebody comes to me and says that I'm investing in a company, actually that would be my dad. I think a couple of weeks back. Yeah. So that particular bond, he wants to buy in one of a China, those peer-to-peer lending company. Yeah. So it was actually recommended by his bank relationship manager.
Yep.
You want to make a guess of what the bond coupons that particular bond is offering? I mean, the typical bond coupons will range between the typical bond between 2.5 to about 6. 6 is quite high. So
yeah.
How much percent do you say that bond is offering?
3.
Well, that particular bond was offering 8% per annum.
That's really, I mean, in today's world, Lloyd, that comes down to a simple thing, doesn't it? I think this is what, this is where please correct me if I'm wrong, because the whole point of this is trying to help our guys to understand this better, right? So when you have a bond offering 8%, you only have one thing to look at. How secure is that money, right? 8% is a great return, but is it more risky than a 6% bond or a 4% bond, That's in today's world, 8% is pretty bloody good, right?
Bloody good is one way of saying it. Really risky is another way of saying it. Yeah.
Really risky. Yeah.
So when I look at that bond, it was 8% unsecured notes. It was based off China and some other thing. I told my dad, no, that's not at least for his profile, that's not a bond that he should be going into. Unfortunately, 1 week later, the news came out that particular company actually defaulted on the bond coupons.
Yeah, look, so this is where I think all the time, one of the things that we try and do, Lloyd, is we try and put experienced people around new people, so that they can take some advice on this kind of stuff. And it's really hard because our guys know, and we really do know this, that we shouldn't be giving direct financial advice. But being there as someone going, hey, look, I wouldn't do that. I think you're allowed to say that. And I think 8%. I think this is when you see stuff that outperforms heavily, I think you do want to have a pretty good look at why it outperforms heavily. And look, as you and I both know, we're both in investments which are which have so far outperformed. And people don't. I don't think people get this right. Before you and I invested in Australian property, as much as I knew and liked and trusted Mikey, I flew to Brisbane and walked around his sites personally, went to his office and met his staff, then flew down to Melbourne, did the same thing to make sure that I had feet on the property we were investing in. And I didn't just go, here's a good guy, let's throw him some money. We really had to dig around and made sure, that everything we thought about that business was real. And I think the truth is that if you're just throwing money at projects, you're not an investor or a trader. You're somebody who's going to lose your life savings if you're not pretty careful, right? You've got to do your due diligence, right?
Definitely got to do due diligence. I mean, if somebody out there, your students, anybody else just want to really just come to me and say, look, I just want to throw money and just hit something. They'll say, really, no offense to the crypto traders, they can try that, cryptocurrency. Or second thing, why not just try being an angel investor? Investing in startups. Those are really high risk. I have tried being an angel investor. I think I tried about 6 times. 5 times it didn't make it. But the 6 times, I actually recouped, but that's the nature of it.
Yeah, it is the nature of it, right? When you're an angel investor, this is one of the things, right, that I asked you about the bonds, because the truth is that the first thing you've got to do is understand what you're doing. Understand why people do it, what the purpose of it is. And, the purpose of angel investors is to allow startups some capital to see if they can make it in the market or not. And a lot of them are going to crash, right? And what you're hoping to do is that you pick up a little one that goes and becomes in 10 years a massive company and sets you up for life, because that's really possible, right? But also the possibility is that you get zero. I've got a couple of questions for you here, Lloyd. I will read them out. I'll read them out to you. And I love the first question. I think it's a really clever question and a bit tough to ask. But listen, so you're aware that Gordon's been calling tomorrow Doomsday, and the question is, what can you advise Forex traders for tomorrow's Doomsday scenario?
Be happy. If tomorrow is a Doomsday scenario, if Gordon is referring to stocks, then be happy that Forex, we can trade both directions. We can trade up and down. That means he's telling you that there's an opportunity in there that you can trade down.
And I want to talk about this because will we see a massive crash tomorrow in the stock market? Quite possible. And Gordon Scott's a clever guy with a good system. He's isolated the day, and all the price action right now suggests that market's soft. But maybe that move's over. Maybe we've seen the move this week and it isn't going to go tomorrow. To be honest, for it to go tomorrow, I'd want to see a little bit of buying today. If we don't see any buying today, I'm a little concerned we'll see that. But one of the number one things you need to do, Paul, is, if you don't mind me, I know I'm not the guest, I'm part of the host, but don't get ahead of yourself. Don't assume anything's going to happen. Let price action prove it. I talk about a strategy in stocks where you buy it each day and you take profit at the first profitable close or the next day, and you put a sell order under the low of the daily bar, because when they go down quickly. And, you don't get put in the shorts very often, but when you get put in the shorts, you make a lot of money. And it's about having a plan. And let's say you're right tomorrow. Let's understand a few things, Paul. That US stock markets can only drop 5 to 6% without auto close. They'll close for the day. They get automatically closed down. So Doomsday, again, I get what he's saying, and I'm very much a believer that he may well be right. He's already been right this week, right? But Doomsday is, a bit of an expression rather than a real trading thing. Will stock markets tank? Possibly. Will some crypto tank? Well, Bitcoin hit 45,000 this morning. I don't know. It's come from 60. But in any language, that's tanked already. Hard to imagine Bitcoin going from 45 to 30 tomorrow. The same amount. Hard to imagine that. But I think one of the things, actually, here's what I did, Paul. I moved my stops up on everything. So I'm out of Bitcoin at 60,000 or 58,000 something. I got up 32. I got out at 58. Got stopped out because I wanted to get in front of this. So I put my stops up on Bitcoin and got hit. I'm out of S&P. I got into that at about 3,200. I think I got stopped down on that at about 4,050 or something. I just go, oh, well, I'll put my stops up. If it pulls back, I get hit. And if it doesn't, I'll keep going. So I think it's about having a plan and not just believing one thing's going to happen. Technically, the other option, there's a few levels not far away in some of these stock markets, and a bounce of those levels is quite possible. So I'll be watching for that as well. I sort of support Gordon, but I wouldn't get overly committed to it. Any more to add, Lloyd?
Just to touch on, I mean, really, at any one time for the past I don't know how many years I've been trading, every week there'll be someone saying that the market is going to tank or crash or something along that line. Now, the thing is that I may or may not believe them. So let's say this time around I choose to believe Gordon, but doesn't mean that I will totally get out of trading. It just means that either I believe him, but if my system still filters out straight, then the responsible thing for me to do is cut my risk. Simple as that. Yeah. And the other thing is that if my system, whether I believe him or not, ultimately I will still refer back to my system. If my system tells me there's a trade, I will still go for it, reduce the risk. Then if the system tells me there's no trade, no matter what, I'll still be staying out anyway. So it doesn't really affect that much when it comes to such things.
Mikey, Mike's got a question in here. I'm going to come back and ask it after we've asked the Subra question. And the question from Subra is, was this Gordon theory or was it a known theory? And if you don't mind, Lloyd, I'm going to answer that if that's okay. Gordon wrote a book about this about 5 years ago. He co-authored a book on the 56-week pattern that this is all based on. Now, if you've done his stocks program, he'll have talked about it exclusively or considerably. If you've been in his webinars, he's done it a lot. But this is he's got a really good reason and a really good theory. I'm not going to tell you his theories on YouTube for free. He probably does it himself, but it's not appropriate for me to tell you his theories. But he's got a really good theory, a really good reason for believing this. Very logical, and has a history of being right. This is not him making something up. This is something he's seen happen repeatedly and believes will happen again. And there's every reason. What I would say is that picking the day is one thing. I think that requires a little bit of luck. Maybe we've already started to see the move, and maybe we'll see more next week. Maybe tomorrow will be the big day. Maybe he'll miss it by a few days. But right now, he looks pretty good on the general overall concept of that. Any adds on that, Lloyd?
Sorry, not really. I didn't really follow Gordon that much. Yeah.
Look, Mai, if you're in the background, if you can have a look on Google and see if you could find the title of Gordon Scott's book. I just can't remember the topic of it, the name of it off the top of my head, but if you can find it and post it, that would be great. Look, the next question, Lloyd, from Mike, how do you reserve your daily expense amount? I.e., you just keep 6 months or 1 year expense cash amount in a bank account to support your daily expense, or you just draw your daily expense from your trading and investment accounts monthly?
Oh, okay. So at any one time inside my bank, I don't have more than $2,000. Yeah. So every month, whatever I earn, 2,000 into my bank. Then I got a 6 months emergency money that will be in the money market fund that I invest in. So those I can withdraw within a day. That's pretty fast. The rest, one of the instruments that I traded or invested is ETF. So the rest, I will segregate between, I don't pump additional into Forex because my Forex already have an account. So I just leave off that account. Then the rest, I'll put it into ETF for passive investing or go into my stocks. So at that point of time, if there's any stocks that interest me, then I'll channel into that. Yeah. So if you really want a ratio, I would say Forex has its own. I don't channel any into it, so it doesn't matter. 6 months emergency funds, 2,000 in my bank. ETF actually takes out about 60% of my active investing funds nowadays, and 30% is really into stocks. Those are going into my thematic investing. 10% are really funds for me to, I would say, play around.
Cheers, Mike. I hope that answered your question. If you've got any more questions, if you want any more clarity on it, do put it in there, Lloyd. I really appreciate that. Look, one of the things we want to do is we want to get this interview session to be more about this kind of stuff, the really practical stuff. Fantastic. That is the title of the book, Maya. So that's, can you share that to everybody, please? Invest to win, earn and keep profits in bull and bear markets with the gains master approach. That is by Gordon Scott and somebody else. And there's some books around in the world that are just marketing exercises. Gordon Scott is not the guy who's writing a book for marketing exercise. Look, I really appreciate answering the questions. It's taken us a little bit away from the general track. So we were talking about the fact that you're into multiple things, and ETFs have now been added in there as well as a big part of it. We're talking about your time allocation, how Sunday you set up your Forex trades and levels and you just stay with those for the week. That's what it is. With stocks, a little bit more involved during the week because news can come out and impact stuff. You spend a fair amount of time in front of charts because you're testing stuff, which keeps you around the market as well. Is that about right? So how would you describe your method?
For stocks?
Yeah.
Well, to sum it up in 2 sentences, I'll wait for a primary mover, then I'll invest in the secondary markets. That's to summarize in 2 sentences. I can show you some of the trades that I did, or I can show you some stuff then to walk you all through how I actually go about my trades. You want me to do it?
I'll tell you what, Lloyd, let's do a quiz, okay? Let's just do a little test, right? Guys in the room or on Facebook or on YouTube, let us know if you'd like to see some of Lloyd's recent trades and his thought process before I took them. How many of you would like to see some of those? Let us know. Put in the chat, please. Looks like it. Anyone else would like to see? I always like this part, Lloyd, because they all want to. All we do is find out who's actually in front of a computer or sitting there and watching, and who's got who's doing the laundry while they're listening to this and don't have a chance straight by. Okay, mate, I'd love to have a look at a few of the trades and understand what we're really interested in. Is the trades will be interesting, but it's the thought process we're interested in, right?
Yeah, I'll show you my thought process, and then I'll show you something which I have not shown anybody before, but I'll show it to you all today. It's something which is tradable, and I would say it's actually only started about late last year, and I actually got pretty good profits out of it. Yeah, there's something that you all definitely can replicate. It'll be easy. Yeah, so let me go.
I'll do another survey. Just let me know in the chat box, please. Just write it on Facebook, write it on YouTube, write it in the chat. How many of you would like to see something easy we can all do that makes money? Who wants to see that? Yeah. In comes Jura. Welcome to the show, mate. I'll see you in. Excellent, guys. Okay, buddy. Over to you, Lloyd.
All right. Thank you, Paul. So let me grab the screen for my second laptop. Okay. So just to go through my thought process. So I think any of you who is looking at cryptocurrency should be familiar with this coin. I think, what is it? Chia coin or something like that? Yeah. So now this news was out early this month. Let me see where's that. May 1st, 2021. So at then my thought process is, oh, cool, a new coin is coming out, but nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm not an active investor in the crypto world, but I still read the news. That it just goes about saying that there's a new coin. The way it works is that it works off SSD or hard drives. Yeah, you use this to mine or to work around it. I don't know what's the actual term for it. Now, at the back of my head, new coin which works in a different manner, which uses SSD or hard drives. Then of course there are more news coming out saying that this will drive a huge demand in SSD and hard disk. Now, my question to the audience is that which country or who in the world is one of the biggest cryptocurrency miners? Which country? Can you name a few?
Malaysia.
So now
Malaysia. Yep.
Malaysia is one of them. I think China is definitely one of them. Then I think one of the Nordic countries, Scandinavian countries, because their electricity are cheap and because they are of cold weather, so it's easier for them to maintain the temperature. So now my train of thought goes to China. So China is one of the biggest miner in the world. Then of course I'll start to look at companies that manufactures solid states, hard disk. Now,
okay, hold on.
Yep.
You need to make this link for people, right? Because what you just said, right, I got it straight away, but I've heard you talk about this stuff before. So there's a cryptocurrency company that wants to let people farm crypto on solid state hard drives. So instead of buying that crypto, you look for a company in China that manufactures solid state hard drives because there's going to be a run on them by people who want to farm this stuff. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, precisely. So
that's pretty clever, buddy.
In this scenario, the primary mover is the coin, the Chia coin. That's the primary mover. I'm not interested in mining. What I'm interested in is what Chia will make. I mean, the coin, the process of farming a coin, what will move with it. That's what I'm interested in.
Great. Yeah. And to be really clear, Lloyd, I'm sort of saying as a question, really. You're not asking what will cause it to move. You're asking what will be on the wave with it.
Yes.
What will move because it's moving, this will move as well.
Yep. So it's a follow-on effect. Yeah, it happens a lot of times. Yeah. And the cool thing about this follow-on effect is that it won't move as fast as the primary. Yeah, because it's a secondary. It'll move much later. So you probably got from 2 days buffer to a week buffer to invest in the relevant company. Yeah. So I go through this list, which is really just look at solid state drive manufacturers. It's Wikipedia. Now, at a point, my thought process is that I've got to go for the biggest solid state manufacturers, which is usually Western Digital, Seagate, the big names. Then I realized, I shouldn't be going after the big names because America actually banned them from selling their technologies to China. Yeah, so they are not supposed to sell their chips to the Chinese. Yep. Then I chanced upon this company, Hikvision. Yeah, so you can see most of it is Taiwan, United States. Taiwan is ally of United States, so they cannot sell to China anyway. So I need to look for China hard disk maker. Yeah. So Hikvision, I believe there's another one, Natech Technology. Yeah. So there's only 2 in this list. So that makes my job a lot easier. All of these 2, I just need to pick one. Yeah. I think the first one, Hikvision, happens to be more of a security firm that manufactures cameras, night vision cameras, something like that. Natech Technology will be more of manufacturing the actual hard disk as SSD. So I go into that company, I invested in. So let's look at what happened next. Was it this?
Let me just ask, Lloyd, how there you go. How do you invest in it? What exchange was it on?
Sorry?
How do you find it? What exchange is it on? How do you trade it?
Oh, this one is actually listed in Shenzhen. So I just my broker, I can actually have to clear some regulatory that allows me to trade in the China market.
Nice.
Yeah. So I actually entered based on this bearish bar. So you can see I entered the trade based on 6 May. It's almost a week later. The news came out on 1st May. So I entered on 6 May. So the next thing I know, I didn't know this was going to happen. So I actually got my profits. I didn't bank in 26% profit, by the way. I actually TP off around this area. So it was more of nearly about 8% profit just within 2 days. Yeah, I mean, it don't happen that often, but so this happens for that particular time. Then after I'm done with the move, so be it. I don't really look at it anymore. Then earlier in the year, everybody knows UK.
Hold on a second, please, Lloyd. I want to do this bit by bit. But I think one of the truth thing about this stuff is that you do it, so it's really easy for you. But for the people listening, they've really got to comprehend it. We had a couple of questions come in. Let's have a quick look at them. I think we see the last one's been answered. For this stock, your strategy is trading or investing it. We were trading it clearly because you got out in 2 days. So you invest in the company that make the tools for gold miners when there's a gold rush. There's a big thing about, I used to work for a guy who talked about, education being, who made the money in the gold rush, the guy that sold the shovels, they're selling the shovels. And really it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? You're looking for the thing that, if there's going to be a gold rush, what's going to go up with the price of gold? Mate, this, seriously, this thing went further in the 2 days after you entered it than it's gone in history. Nice, mate. I really like it. And, mate, never underestimate those inside bars or top or bottom of a bar. You're talking about inside bars in your show, aren't you? Next Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah. Next week on my YouTube show, I'll be talking about inside bars, how to trade breakouts with them.
Yeah, look, it's such a inside bars. In my mind, inside bars are so underrated. Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you very much. Look, if there's any more questions, throw them in the questions box, and I will try and get them to Lloyd. In the meantime, Lloyd, let's have a look at the next one.
Okay, yeah. So I think late last year, I think they finalized UK will leave the Brexit. Yeah. So now, as you know, I'm into cycling. So my recent purchase was a Brompton. So it warns of soaring costs for UK manufacturers. So in a bicycle, what's the major component for a bicycle? That would be steel. Steel will be a major component. Yeah. Then naturally, I'll say, oh, okay. So I happen to know more about Brompton because I mean this was a company that supported their bikes, not their stocks. Yeah. So I actually find out what companies actually supply steels to UK. Their what you call it? Their local company. Then of course I make a play on that. I think it was this company.
So let me hold you up here for a minute. So you see that for Brompton is saying the cost of steel is going up, or so what did you do?
Yeah. So the cost of Brompton is going to go up, and they can't. I mean, because due to the tariff, their cost is going to go up. Then they are probably going to source materials, and even if not Brompton, there will be some other companies out there sourcing materials from their own local market.
So, I'm sorry, Lloyd, to ask this, but it's really important. So, what you thought was, okay, well, imported steel is going to go up in price, therefore, local steel is going to get more demand, and I'm going to get into local steel.
Yep.
Like it.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
let's look at it.
Then this is what happened. So, let me switch that. So, this news actually came out on April 6th, right? Yep. So, that's from Brompton. But there was an earlier news back in January, which basically they said the same thing. There's a couple of weeks after the actual Brexit signing. Yeah. So I made a play on steel, which is early this year. I think even then it was a late one. So I went in about end of January. So yep. I targeted this level. So why was this level there? Now, usually I don't have a level, but if you scroll back the chart, then this level I absolutely cannot ignore. Yeah. So that was my take profit level. Yeah. So and then if you remember the news, I also make a play on this particular move. Yeah, so I'm still in this trade, but this is the first trade I already keep it. So that was about 8.66. It was actually near to 10% for my risk to reward ratio. Yeah. So this one I'm still in it. I'll probably be trailing my stop loss to this level. Now if price breaks, then I'll be following it all the way. We'll see how that happens. Yeah. So it's still the same concept. There's a primary news that is probably going to move the market, that I'm going to look for the secondary industry that's going to follow. It's still the same thought process.
Look, I really like it. Again, Lloyd, I guess because I've spoken to you about this kind of stuff before and I'm sort of aware of it, I'm trying to be really careful because I understand it immediately. I'm hoping that everybody else does, right? So the price of steel is going up in the UK. So we find imported steel, so we find a UK steel manufacturer and we just get in there. One thing I like in your trades, Lloyd, is that you've got a fundamental type entry. You're looking for a partner to it and use a technical, and technicals play a part as well, be it target entry bars. There's a technical part to it as well, right? Yeah.
So the entry is definitely technical, but the guide to why to this particular company or this particular entry will be fundamental play.
Like it, mate. That S&P looks like it's selling. Is that up to date? That chart?
So this will be SPX chart. Now this is the method I'm going to share with you all today.
Yep.
Yeah. Then again, I will always emphasize, I'll be sharing a method. It's up to you all to backtest it, verify it, and refine it. All right. So again, back to the same concept.
I'm gonna hold you up for a second. Again, Lloyd's going to share this with you. We're happy to have Lloyd share this with you, but please, guys, this is not a do this now. This is an educational thing to give you some ideas. You know, disclaimer, because we have to do that kind of stuff. Look, don't go into something reckless and stupid based on some guy on the internet talking to you. No matter how cool the guy is, right? So if you have a look at this, go away, back test it, make sure you get it right. Well, I do want to come back to Jura's question for you as well after this, because it is a great question around what you're doing. So let's have a look at this. Then we'll go back to Jura's question. But this is the thing you asked about. You said earlier, you can show us something simple that you've been following for a few months that will help them to make some money, right?
Yep. And it's a repeatable process. And it's quite objective. I like the word objective. So my question to the audience is that the S&P market, S&P 500, is the biggest stock market in the world. So I will classify that as a primary mover. When the S&P market coughs or sneezes or suffers something, which market will follow S&P? Usually that will be the Asia market the very next day, because the S&P that suffer a drop or have a rise, usually the Asia market will follow. There will be either the Hang Seng Index or Straits Time Index or the Tokyo market. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah.
So the Nikkei.
Nikkei.
Sorry, Lloyd. And you're saying not only do they follow, but you're saying chronologically they follow. The US market opens and the closes, and the Asian market opens.
Yes. Yeah. So by the time the US market closes, there will be 5 a.m. my time. Straits Times opens, there will be 8 or 9. I forgot the actual timing. Yeah. So you got a healthy 3 to 4 hours in between to not even analyze, just look at the results. Yeah. So you're looking at the leading market, which is the S&P. So now the Asia market will actually follow. Yeah. Usually that should be the way. So now I have on my chart, so you can see the bottom is actually the percentage change. So if the percentage change is, I set it to 1%. Yeah. So if it's more than 1% change from the previous day, then I mean, I'm only buying, I'm not selling. Then the following day, that means 1% rise in the S&P market. The following day, the Asia market should follow through. Yeah. So that's the play I'm going at. That's about it. All right. So that's about it. And the stop loss, usually I just put it at the previous candle low.
Let me see if you can show us this again, right? So there's a day there where the S&P moved up 1%, and when you go forward one day, there's Singapore Star, the Straits Times Index follows.
Yes. Yeah.
And if it doesn't move 1%, what do you do?
Nothing. If it doesn't move 1%, that means it's just a regular day. There's nothing that actually moved the market. I don't do anything.
Okay. And this is on TradingView, right?
This is on TradingView. Yeah. So
and open close percentage change is something, and a pretty easy indicator to add on TradingView.
Yeah, you can just find it from here. And this is the one that you can see, open close percentage change.
Right. Look, guys, I think most of us, for some purpose, would rather have a TradingView account. I used to write a bit of stuff on there a few years ago now, and I think TradingView account as a backstop's not a bad place. So let me see if I've got the strategy right, Lloyd. You watch the S&P. If it moves more than 1% in either direction on Asia Open, you trade in that direction for the day.
Yes. That's it.
You did say simple, didn't you? One thing I really like, Lloyd, I think simple wins. I just think people love, and it's not the markets that's complicated, it's us that's complicated. And what we do is we overlay our fear with more rules. So because we're scared of losing, we create another rule and another rule and another rule and another rule and another rule. When really we just strip those damn things away, just keep it really simple. So that again, the blue line was above 1%. The next day, the Straits Times bar, what's it called? The Straits Times goes up. So, and the ones that I can see here, Lloyd, from what I can see, every day has worked in this so far that I can see. I don't have the thing, but that works long and short, right?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last one.
It works long and short.
I don't go short. I'm not confident to go short. That'll be the truth of it. Yeah, but I think it can go short. Just that it needs some testing to be done to allay my fears.
Mate, can you come back and show us the previous three 1% uppers you've got just over to the left? Those three there. Just can you put a cursor on that so we can see them?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
So this will be the 1% up for the US market.
Yeah.
On the 24th. On the 25th, I enter the market. Stop loss is right below the last swing.
Yeah.
Then I just aim for 2:1. That's all.
Cool. So you no matter what, you just aim for 2:1.
Yeah.
That is nice and simple, mate. Let me just check on the questions for you, eh? Right. The questions on this, either direction or only long. Well, only long for now. Charlene, you can test short. Thank you for the question. I want to come back to Jura's question in a second, but I want to remind you guys that if you're at home, you can jump, and if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can post questions there, and Maya watches those, and she will post the questions into us so we know about them. And if you're in the room, you can do the same thing. Now, look, great question from Jura, actually, Lloyd. There are so many news out there. How do we decide on which one to act? And we're going back to the last thing where you have a primary mover and a following mover. I'm going to ask you a question. How much time do you spend reading the Financial Times and those kind of things?
Probably reading news every day will probably take me 1 hour to 2 hours.
And reading news. What are your sources? Which news? Where do you read the news from?
Any major Yahoo News, I read off them. Whatever news that Google push to me. Quora is one of them. Reddit will be one of them. Yeah. So anything that actually goes to the headlines, any news agency can just read off those news. Yeah. There's no particular method to that.
So you read for a couple of hours a day, and I'm suggesting, Lloyd, that you can go a week or a month and see nothing that grabs your attention.
Yes.
And then something does grab your attention. What makes it stand out for you?
Now, this will be the subjective part. I would say, again, back to the point, I like cycling. I happen to cycle Brompton. That's why I pay attention to this news. So according to each and anybody, what grabs your attention is different. Yeah, so there's no method to that. So whatever headline news that happens to grab your attention, logically, you would have already some knowledge about that particular topic. That will make it easier to research.
Look, and this is in the Financial Times, and so you're not looking to, generally say, read the news. I guess you could, there was a storm in Australia today. Well, it must be a pretty large storm before that matters to you. You're looking really for financial type news that you can have a lead and a follow product for.
More or less that way, I would say. Yeah. Again, I mean, everybody's attention to different news will be different, but of course, news that happens in major publication will grab more attention. Now, when they grab more attention, then there's a likelier chance that the movement of the secondary market will be stronger.
And one of the things you're saying, one of the things that we say here, Lloyd, right, is that what you do is really clever, but the reason the secondary market works is because other people do it as well. So, and quite often what happens, Lloyd, and this is where I think you are different, right, is that, okay, Brompton, I'm going to get, what people do is they go, Brompton, that hasn't gone very well, I'm going to sell Brompton. And when the next people come in and go, oh, Brompton's gone too far, I can't trade Brompton, then they look at a secondary market, whereas you've gone to the secondary market before them. You're not waiting for the first thing to move, so it's gone too far and I want either direction. I'm not doing that, I can't get in there, so I'm going to go here. You're initially getting there, which is putting you in front of them in the move, right?
Yeah, that'll be the whole idea. So whatever headline that comes out, you and I know that we are possibly the last person on earth to know this headline. Those who are the hedge fund or whichever industry they already know these news way before us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what as news consumers like us can do is we try to be clever about it. Once we know what will move that particular market and people rush into it, then sooner or later, something got to catch up and we just position ourselves in front of those. That will be it. So I think last time I shared with you is that traveling will probably resume. And then I don't buy the airlines. I don't really like buying the airlines. So I buy the company that cater food for the airlines. Yeah. Because if people go to travel, then they will definitely eat on the airlines and the airlines actually need to buy additional food for them. That's about it.
I really like that, Lloyd. And you've made that play once before, right? You've done this once before in airlines, really, right?
Yeah, I've done it several times, same play over and over again. And the cool thing is, once you identify the stock to go into, you naturally will pay attention to the nature of such news. And when the when the news presents itself, you already have a filtered list of which company to go into. Yeah.
Look, one of the things I want to make the point, if you're listening to this, if you're watching it back on YouTube or Facebook later on, and or you're live now, look, one of the things that, just to be really clear, is that you can't listen to Lloyd for half an hour and start at expert level. What you've got to do is take the concept and practice it for yourself in paper trade. And when you finish paper trading, trade a small amount of money, and at the end of a period of time, you work out your method for this, and it'll be the same framework, but your method inside it. You can't just listen to it. Oh, I'm going to do that, but you can, but it won't work so well. You've got to then go away and put this in. What kind of news are you going to look for and experiment and become better at stuff? And that's the process of improvement that makes professionals succeed. Super, I would like to know why it took so long that you did not try out crypto.
Because I don't understand crypto at all. Yeah. Initially, I have to admit that to me it's a joke. There's so many what do you all call it? Meme coins out there, which I don't know why it exists. And to put it simply, I just don't understand the industry now. I mean, I just don't understand why they are there in the first place. So I don't invest in it. Yeah. It piques my interest, but as long as I don't understand it, I'll keep my hands off it. That'll be the simple answer to it. Now, the next part of the answer is that obviously crypto has been with us for quite some time already. Now I have picked up sufficient interest in it. So this is the part I'm going to share with you, is that I want to go into crypto, but I don't know how to go into crypto. And I suspect I'll be suffering the same thing as Paul, transferring coins here and there, exchanging. I still don't know what it's all about. So the next logical step, okay, let's move with me. Crypto market is going to grow. I don't think anybody will say otherwise. What's the secondary thing that will grow with crypto markets? I'm not going to go into individually the thousands of coins out there, and that's too much for me. Why not I do it this way? I buy the crypto exchange coins itself, because they need those coins to buy the other smaller coins. And so this is what I'm going to buy into. So if you own Binance, then Binance has its own coins. I don't know what exactly is it called. Then unit swap.
It's called BNB token, by the look of that.
BNB token, yeah. So unit swap, I think you all have heard Shukri said a few times. Huobi. So these coins are used by the exchanges to buy other coins. As far as I understand, that's how it goes. And that means these coins will be in great demand because you need to buy other coins with them. Why not I just buy to this coin? That'll be the easier way for me. That's all.
Tell you what, Lloyd, at some stage we should put you in a conversation with Shukri about that and see what he thinks of it, right? Look, mate, before we wind it up, we're going to do a prize draw tonight. We're going to give away, it's a bit of a regular prize for us now. We're going to give away a month of access to our strategy bias group, one that Ash puts a lot of work into and Ray speaks on. But before we do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the testing. So you're heavily involved at the moment. We've just finished the optimization and testing of the daily wave rider, the rebuild of that strategy. We're now doing the 4-hourly wave rider. You're heavily involved in it. Basically, Peter and Jeff, myself and you do in different groups the discussion around what we're going to test, and that you then move that onto the testing team and get it tested, put it in a spreadsheet for us to have a look at results. I don't know the number, but there's been a lot of tests done, right?
I think on the last week, every day we are easily doing about 10 to 12 tests every single day. Yeah.
Now, this stuff takes up a lot of time, right?
It does. One normal test takes me about between 90 minutes to 2 hours, thereabouts.
So why are you doing it?
Because it gave me the opportunity to, so I must grab it. That's the first thing. Look, the thing is that I do have my own, I do play EA on my own, buy EA on my own. The thing is that I have never chanced upon the EA, the thing that we are testing, that has more than 20 variables.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And the second thing that I learned from this, from a very personal point of view, is that I think in one way that you have pointed out to me, I come into the testing with my own trader bias. I think that's why sometimes when you communicate to me, I try to push my own agenda. It didn't get through, then I'll revert to what you wanted. You see? But the whole point of back testing is to try to go in as neutral as possible and test all variables without my own bias. I mean, that should be the whole point of it. Yeah. So
which is such an easy thing to say, but such a hard thing to do, right? Sitting in trying to put yourself into a neutral space and go, well, what might work here? Look, I remember at the start of the testing, I remember talking to Peter and Jeff right at the start and saying, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to test every part of the daily wave rider, and anything that doesn't work, we're going to throw it in the bin. And I said to them at the point, I said, look, guys, I'm not interested in what I think will work. I'm not interested in what you think will work. We're going to test it. If it doesn't work, it goes in the bin. We've ended up with a much simpler strategy and a really, really good looking strategy, very profitable, and the back test will be really profitable going forward. But even for me, I said this the other day, I love 200-day moving average bounces. But when we tested 200-day moving average bounces, they didn't work on the wave rider and we binned them. And no matter how much you like something, if the test says no, it's got to go, right?
I'm just going to be objective and it's got to go. And that's one thing that really piques my interest during the backtesting is that why some currency absolutely sucks for a momentum trading strategy.
Euro Swiss. The Euro Swiss disaster on the 4-hour wave rider. Look, it's one of the things right about doing it ourselves, right? So you guys do the testing, but I spend a lot of time in the data, and I find the data really powerful because I just know if you're listening to this, guys, and you are trying to trend or momentum trade the Euro Swiss on the 4-hourly chart, I would stop doing that now because it is a disaster. And when you see this stuff happening, you do pick it out, and it helps you in the market. Just having that kind of stuff sitting in your background really does help. I have enjoyed it. So, a question from Mike: do you need to do the programming to do the back testing for the indicators, or you just use some out of the box tools on the market to do your back testing for the indicators? So, when you're back testing indicators, Lloyd, how do you do that?
Oh, I'm basically a stalker in forums. So when I go to forums and I see some people posting indicators, they will just, okay, I just download it and try it out and see what goes from there. That's all. So
when you back tested, do you manually back test it, or do you use an EA to back test it?
I will still revert to pen and paper to back test. Same like what the EA is doing, all 29 tests. After a certain set of results, what do I get? If it's showing me some promising results, then of course I need to shell out the money to make it into an EA. Now, the manual back testing is not difficult. It's just pen and paper. That's about it. Shelling out the money for the EA and suddenly putting a trading concept into numbers, that's the hard part.
It's one of those things, right? Programmers are programmers for a reason, and traders are traders for a reason. And I can't tell you what those reasons are. What I can tell you is the opposite. That when you speak to a programmer, you just go, I just want to buy the top of the bar. And I don't know what they hear, but it's certainly not, getting the vision of what you want through the program is really, really tough. Mate, the robot trader we're using for the testing, do you like it?
Absolutely. I have not played enough out of it. I mean, still have many more variables to be played about. Yeah. But each back testing that we do, especially for the different time frames, sometimes it reinforces the concept that I have. Sometimes it breaks the concept that I have. Like currently the 4-hour testing, I mean, some of the results that we have is not that stellar, or rather I would say in the past, I mean, there was a conversation, I think a month back, you told me that for the daily wave rider, you told me test bar wasn't working very well. But that was actually one of my favorite price actions. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, one of the things you can do with that, right, is you can then start going back through your own trades and have a look at your journal and go, well, is that true for me or not? Because if you can trade them in a way they're profitable, you can still trade them, right? But just knowing this stuff, I think if you saw some of the reversal bar information from that daily wave rider testing, people would be surprised. I don't think anyone would be reading Steve Nissen's book anymore if they had a look at that data. And look, it's only one strategy and one method. It's not the world or anything, but it is interesting how some of that stuff goes. Mate, we are already a little bit over time. Look, I first of all, guys, I want to thank all of you for your questions. I think it's been great. What I'm going to ask Mai to do is I'm going to ask Mai, who in the background by now will have the wheel of names ready to go for the prize draw. And I'm going to ask Mai if she can just scroll back through the questions and put anybody who asked a question in twice. So if you ask a question in the show, you get your name in the prize draw twice. Everybody in the webinar gets a chance to go into the prize draw. And if you post your name on YouTube or Facebook, then I'll have Mai add you into that draw as well. We'll do this going forward to make sure that everybody who watches, look, if you're on YouTube and you don't want to post your name, that's completely fine. But if you do want to put your name in there, then Mai will add you to the wheel of the wheel of names for the lucky draw. The winner gets a month of the strategy bias stuff from Ash. One of my favorite. Well, I think arguably my favorite product of all. I'm a huge believer that in this notion of conditional traders, that we need to understand what's likely to make a market move. And I like seasonality particularly. I like fundamentals. I like people to give them to me. I don't want to do the reading that Lloyd does. So what I want is someone to say to me, fundamentally, this is strong, and most importantly, somebody that I trust. And I'm really lucky because in our organization, Ash does that stuff and I trust him a lot. So it really makes it really easy, and it gives me a direction. So all I'm ever looking to do really is to trade in the direction of those things. And if I then find trades, I take those trades. I don't just take random trades that turn up on a chart. I think that part of technical analysis is, for me, a bit hooey. I think you've got to have a reason to believe it's going to continue in that direction. Right, Emma, you ready to go? Not yet. I'm not surprised, Maya. We have sprung this on you. So I'm going to talk about a couple of more things. I'm not quite sure what they are. I'm going to talk about the pick the euro dollar price. Look, everybody, as always, everybody who's in this room goes in there, and then everybody who's asked a question goes in there a second time. And if anybody who's watching on Facebook or YouTube wants to write their name into the questions area on Facebook or YouTube, we're going to ask them as well. So same as always, plus the people on Facebook and YouTube, plus people who ask questions got to get a second go. So Mike will be in there twice, Jira will be in there twice, Subra will be in there twice, because they've asked questions and that makes the show work for me. I'm a big fan of people who ask questions and interact, if that's okay. I'm sure everyone will forgive you if on one occasion, the first time we do this, if you're juggling through, we need to do a couple of things to make it work.
I thought something to y'all at this moment.
Yep.
Okay, so let me share my screen. So this is something that I'm going to make a play soon. So because data centers are heat guzzler, energy guzzler, so they have to cool. A lot of electricity is being spent to cool the hard disk, the data itself. So and recently Singapore says that they have put a pause to expanding the data centers in Singapore because it is huge electricity guzzler. So one method they found to cool them down in a much more energy efficient manner is actually to dump them into mineral oil or liquids. Yeah. So can anybody tell me then or make a guess what sort of play is going to happen? I mean, what can you all go after actually at this point of time?
Well, I mean, whoever provides that, whoever boilers, yep, whoever provides that liquid, whatever that liquid is.
You got it, Paul. So whoever provides that liquid, that mineral oil that is a non-conductor of electricity, I think, it's just an opinion, I think the data centers are going into it because it's going to help them save electricity in the long run, lesser maintenance. So whichever company which is producing this liquid, their stocks will probably take a pretty good rise. That's my opinion.
Do you know what the liquid is?
You're
going to do a search and find it, aren't you?
Yeah, I haven't really go through it, so I just need to read more. But I know 3M is actually one of the manufacturers.
Look, Maya's got a few other things to do, and I don't want to keep her waiting, but I did see from Subra what the liquid might be. So always interesting on the show. Maya, can you grab the screen? Can we do the wheel of names? The winner today gets a 1 month free access to the strategy bias group, and let's see who wins it. Got to be in the room, guys. You've got to be in the room, guys. Got to be in the room. Great to see a couple of people putting their names in on Facebook. I love it. Thank you very much, Paresh. Welcome along. Oh, that's tight. I think it's Stuart. So, Stuart, if you are in the room, can you drop us a message and let us know that you are in? Hey, Stuart, welcome along, mate. Congratulations. Mai will take down your details and she will get them to James. He will be in touch with you most likely Monday or Tuesday next week. We will have a short day for James in the office on Friday. Look, the liquid could be Dow Therm. Oh, it's instant to us. Super, can we share that with everybody? You're welcome, Stuart. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being part of the show. Subra, can we share that with everybody? Subra, can we share that with everybody? You just send it to us. I'm reluctant to do too much more with it unless he says we can.
I have no idea what's that, but I'll be doing my research on that.
There we go. Looks like Dowtherm is something that Subra thinks it could be. Cheers. Thank you very much. I think you sent it to us again. I think this time we probably meant to send it to everybody. DOWTHERM. Look, Lloyd, I'm really, I've loved the show. I think it's really nice to have this kind of, honestly, if you've watched this show, I think you've got amazing value. We've had a new strategy available to you guys that's been nice and profitable. We've seen an approach to trading of a full-time professional trader investor, and this is it. And this is what I want. I'm gonna do the what was the guy on reality TV who summed it up at the end of the show? Show was crazy. We used to beat each other up all the time. You will know when you think about it. I can't remember his name, but I'm going to do the sum up, and this is my sum up, right? That here's my sum up, right? Is that Lloyd has found a way that works for him, and you need to find a way that works for you. And if that is finding a leader and a follower and trading the follower, that's fantastic. And if it's something else, it's fantastic. What you need to do is get clear, practice it and trial it and see if it works and see if you can make it work and give it some time. If you can, build it. And if you can't, come back and have another look for another idea. But your way of success will be your way of success. That's the way it works. That's why trading education is not as simple as I push this button, I push that button, you do the same thing. And everyone makes money. So it's not quite like that. It'd be great if it was, but it is different to that. So if you can find your method, that would be great. Look, just want to say, one of the things I love about this show is we see often a lot of the long-term clients in here. It's nice to also see some of the newer ones in today. So nice to see you, to Candice and Charlene, Chris, always good to see you on board. Gary, James, Jira, Paul, Stuart, Subra, Sum, Teak, Zen, lots of newbies as well. Nice to see the newbies in as well. Good to see you, Guy. I imagine Charles is a newbie as well. So thanks for being with us tonight. I'll be back not next Thursday. I'm away next Thursday. I've got a golf day on Friday, and I've got to travel up there on Thursday. But I'll be back a fortnight from now. We'll let you know who the guest is. Keep an eye out for the promotions for it and join us in the fortnight. In the meantime, Lloyd, may your bank accounts continue to grow, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers.